I heard a crazy statistic that over 60% of the online content on social media is AI. Now, the problem with that is that everyone is doing the same exact thing, creating boring, mediocre content. And because of that, they're going to get lost in the sea of mediocrity. But with one 20-minute conversation that I just had with ChatGPT, I understand and flip the content creation game completely on its head. That's going to allow me to not only be myself full, whole, and complete, but get better results than I ever have. And on this video, I want to show you exactly what that conversation was so that you can take that and apply it to your content creation for your entrepreneurial journey. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Rapklis. I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. I've produced thousands upon thousands of pieces of content, and the content game is completely shifting because of AI. And again, if you utilize it the way everyone else is doing it, making boring, lame content with one little prompt, then you're going to experience the same exact results and get even more frustration, more burnt out than ever before because it's just getting harder and harder. However, if you utilize the way I'm going to show you here in this video, you're going to be able to stand heads and shoulders above everybody else because you're going to stand out with more authenticity, more yourself, and because of that, you're going to get 10 times better results, if not more. So I have a good friend that he has millions and millions of followers, and we've been having conversations around this whole topic of feeling boxed in by social media. Like, you gotta stay in your lane, otherwise the algorithm's gonna smack you down. But again, like I said, this conversation I just had, it flips everything on its head because I've been wrestling with this quite a bit. Now, if you've been wrestling with this whole concept of create content but stay in a box but wanting to be myself, let me know down below. Like, just say I agree down in the comments so I can get an understanding on who is actually resonating with this message. Because after like I said, publishing content across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, every channel, Facebook, Snapchat, I've done them all, and I've created thousands upon thousands of pieces of content at this point after my 10 years of being an entrepreneur. I've had this major wrestle with it because I was like, I want to be myself, I want to express fully, but I also understand I want to adhere to the algorithm's playbook. But with, again, this conversation that I'm going to show you here in just 1 second, it really cleared everything up and helped me understand my path forward as I'm moving with YouTube. And I'm going to be on this journey where I'm creating a piece of content every single day for 365 days on a road to who knows how many subscribers or what's going to happen, but the consistency. And I'll show you how I'm actually producing these videos as well, because I really believe in this whole era of becoming a run and gun content creator. And the more authentic that you can be, the more you're going to stand heads and shoulders above everybody else. Because here's another interesting story that I just heard recently. They did this content creator games essentially, and they basically presented everybody, and they basically gave the crowd an opportunity to cheer for their favorite influencer. And so they started with the TikTokers, then the Instagram Reels people, then they went into YouTube Shorts, and then they went into YouTube long form content, podcasters, and then they went into streamers. And it was without a shadow of a doubt the people that had the most influence, the biggest fans, the raving advocates for them was the streamers. Why? Well, it's because they're the most authentic. They're not polishing up their content. They're not editing it to make it look a certain way. They're simply just having people be themselves, and then people can resonate with them because of the fact that they're just being them, right? So it proves that authenticity is really the way moving forward. People want authentic people, and that's my mission here, is to be as authentic as I possibly can while also getting the best results, getting the most exposure so that I can impact the most amount of people, especially because we're building an amazing SaaS company called Vision Espresso that helps people become the best version of themselves utilizing AI and being very intentional with AI, like I'm about to show you here on this video. So without further ado, let's dive into this conversation. I also want to share with you a couple tools. I'll continue to mention these because I just use these every day, and it makes utilizing AI 10 times more powerful, quick, effective, and efficient. So the first tool that I always love using is Whisperflow, because then you can just speak to chat. I use ChatGPT, and this is my first whole prompt, and then from there I can even listen to it as well when I highlight it, and then I press the play button up here.
Hey chat, quick.
So it's nice because I'm basically just having a back and forth conversation. Now, what I will say, a lot of people come on and say oh, I got 7 prompts that'll help you become the best content creator, right? I don't necessarily believe in prompts. I believe in context and speaking to chat as it was your thought partner, Okay? Think about it like that. Think about it as your thought partner, not your thought leader. It's your thought partner. You're the leader and it's your partner rather than it leading you. So I'll just kind of run through this as a conversation I just had, 20-30 minute conversation, but I want to help you understand. And I also want to show you another quick hack that I've done with chat that can help me, even rather than trying to prompt it all, I'll do something else where it basically knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then from there, it can really direct me. So really what I was doing with this is first I give it an identity. I say, hey, I want you to be an expert YouTube authority to help me understand the algorithm on a deep level. I just want to understand the algorithm. And then from there, I wanted to basically put together an approach where I can utilize this and really dive into my content creation so that I can be fully myself, get the best results, also adhering to the algorithm, because it's not a simple conversation. I want to adhere to all of it, be my best self, be my most authentic self, and also reap the benefits of utilizing the algorithm. So basically just told it that. And I just gave it some context of like, I want to create content, but I also feel like I'm a little boxed in. And so I want you to operate as an expert authority. I want you to help me understand the algorithm. And then I want you to also help me understand like what's hurting me in the algorithm. What should I not be doing? And should I be starting from scratch anytime I shift an audience? Or can I mold the audience and I mold the YouTube channel? Because I've got friends that have, plenty of friends that have had hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, like I mentioned, and they feel very boxed in. But if you do it the way that I just learned, that is shifting the game completely, now you understand. So it basically just gave me a really good understanding of what the algorithm is all about. It doesn't promote your channel, it promotes videos, because the algorithm's job is to maximize viewer satisfaction per video, not enforce niche policy. So that was a big lift. And so it basically helped me understand you want to have a core topic, and I'll show you mine here in a second, but it kind of even the more that I have conversations with chat, and as I explain a lot on these videos that I have on my YouTube channel, the more you can talk with it, the more you have conversations with it, the more powerful it gets, the more it knows you, right? And then from there, it has your core topic, so your main through line across your whole channel. I'll explain what I'll tell you everything here. Again, my whole goal here is to be as authentic as I possibly can. So you have a through line, and then you have content buckets, and then you have formats. So just understanding that was really powerful for me. Also, it explained that you can shift your niche over time, and slow shifts are normal. So just as long as you're not jarring your audience and doing like a video on how to use Excel spreadsheets and then doing Minecraft and then doing vlogs and then talking about journaling practices, like if it's that shifty, that can be a challenge. But if it's a slow shift over time, you can evolve with your channel. And what was kind of cool is like I'm always asking it, hey, ask me some clarifying questions, because then I want to have it much more of a back and forth conversation, right? So it just we continue to have a back and forth conversation. And it just kind of assured me here, you won't hurt yourself by making a variety of content. Well, it was just, that felt really good in itself. So it just said anchor your core message and then experiment with buckets. And that was really cool to just hear that from chat. And yeah. So then from there, I just continued to explain it more. It's like, I want to create this type of content. I know that I want to tie everything into my company, Vision Espresso, and I want to basically mold all my content in a way to give value, but also like segue it into my Vision Espresso app, which is our SaaS company, and that's our main focus. And that's why I want to bring more exposure to our company, because it's a powerful app that helps people become the best version of themselves, get clarity on who they are, their vision, and then create a custom audio from their future self that's in their voice, that has emotional frequencies that they can listen to daily, which then reprograms and shifts their subconscious mind and their identity, believe them to be that actual person, and then they experience really cool results and just being more authentic to themselves. So it's basically explaining all this, and I want you can see how far I went. It is because I was talking to it, and like I said, with Whisperflow, you can just talk to it, and then all of a sudden it transcribes it for you. So you can see right there. Boom. So I just keep on doing it. I'll be like, hey, like I've made a lot of different topics. I talk about, personal development stories. I talk about subconscious reprogramming. I talk about shifting beliefs, productivity. I've been merging that into AI. I talk a lot about ChatGPT. I talk about Joe Dispenza because I really like that. I call them golden threads, things that have proven to get more traction than other topics. So I'm giving it everything that I've got. and I'm just explaining everything. And that's what I really want you to understand is like, give AI as much context as you possibly can, and then ask it to ask you questions as well. If you take nothing else from this video and you just do that simply, like I think that would change drastically. And I just explain everything. I made a book review, and does that adhere to this? Or am I pulling outside of different lanes? And then so all these different things. And then the other thing that was really cool here too is it asked me, would you like me to show you some examples of creators that started in a specific niche, and then they molded and adapted and they pivoted over time to actually become some of the biggest, best YouTubers, right? So Ali Abdaal, I know he's got one of the biggest channels. I'm not as familiar with these guys. I haven't delved too deep into it, but it's kind of cool to see like he started medicine, how to study for exams. Then he moved over to productivity tools, Notion, habits, and then now entrepreneurship, philosophy, and life design. So he everything was a layer. It wasn't a hard switch. So it was just kind of cool to see different examples and then some big takeaways from all three, because a pivot doesn't break your channel. It actually helped them significantly. And it's just the viewer promise is consistent, help me live a better, more clear, more intentional. So again, if there's a common through line that is not going to like change drastically, like you probably wouldn't go from like whatever, like growing a garden to roller coasters, like that would be a big shift, right? But as long as like you know that you're going to mold and adapt to different things in your life, and you're going to take your audience with you, that was a big perspective shift for me. And so then I kind of gave it to like, hey, I gave it the whole concept like, hey, I want to make sure this adheres to Vision Espresso. And so then he was talking about like my own bucket. So it could be personal development stories and experiments like subconscious reprogramming, belief shifting, book reviews. Then it could jump into AI for growth and clarity using ChatGPT for subconscious reprogramming, case studies of AI and Vision Espresso, philosophy, neuroscience. So it kind of just already gave me some ideas, and then it gave me some guardrails. Like these are the things that you don't want to be doing. But it just said basically like if you can make sure that everything hits like at least 2 out of 3, does this help my viewer become a better version of themselves with or without AI? Which that's the through line of my content, is helping entrepreneurs, people that take responsibility for their lives, become a better version of themselves. And now it's molding into AI a lot more. So as long as I have that through line, and I can always tie it back into Vision Espresso, and then will my audience feel this is an expansion of the journey, not a random detour? If I have all three of those, or at least 2 out of 3, I know I'm like adhering to the guardrails, if you will. And that just like, I can do that on all 3, and I just know that I will. And that brings me a lot of peace, knowing that I'm not straying too far away and breaking the algorithm. Right. So yeah, it kind of gave me some more things, and then I like just had another conversation with it. It gave it a little bit more context. I talked about my whole concept of golden threads, and then it basically just gave me a YouTube channel map. So the magnetic core, the through line, is helping entrepreneurs take radical responsibility for their growth and become the best version of themselves through clarity, intentional living, and AI-powered tools like Vision Espresso. And then from there, the content buckets. So personal growth and subconscious reprogramming, AI for entrepreneurs and vision building, entrepreneur and business mindsets, and then philosophy, neuroscience, and vision. These are already the golden threads that I have. It even gave me a couple that I haven't even tested out yet. So it already gave me some ideas. It gave me like the absolute green lights. It gave me the red lights, so things to avoid, like completely unrelated niches, overly tactic, how to grow without trying for clarity or vision. Like 5 ways to use Excel. So I know I won't go that way. Purely entertainment, comedy, no growth tied. So again, this kind of just like extended on the guardrails, if you will. So again, make sure that it's all about entrepreneurs taking responsibility and growing. Naturally connected back to Vision Espresso. Does the audience does that adhere to the journey as opposed to whiplash? And then, excuse me. Is this a new experiment or a proven golden thread? Excuse me. So yeah, it basically helps me really understand it and understands the bigger picture. So now I feel like I can fully express and be myself and talk about like anything that's going on in my life, and all these different, realizations that I'm having, learning from mentors, books that I'm reading, utilizing AI, having conversations with AI, like talking about philosophy, talking about brain-heart coherence, like all the things that tie into helping entrepreneurs become the best version of themselves, and then also tying everything into Vision Espresso, which everything is tied into Vision Espresso because of the fact that, Vision Espresso starts it all. It helps you become the best version of yourself. That's what the app is all about. So the message of my YouTube channel ties in perfectly with Vision Espresso. It's just like the amplification tool to help you implement it as opposed to just listening to a YouTube video. So it's just a natural progression. And then I just got to make sure that it's like, I'm not like being shifty with my audience. And like that just helped me so much. And then again, I just talked to it a little bit further, and then boom, it gives me a little bit more because I'm like saying like, hey, here's a few other content ideas that I had. I want to talk about journaling and nature. I want to talk about Bible and prayer. Maybe I'll even drop in a little bit of plant medicine, as that's been a part of my journey. I'll tell you a little bit more about like how I'm planning to do that, because that is a little bit of a taboo topic as it adheres to the algorithm and how I'll play with it. I'm also growing out my hair, right? And I'm on the road to Jesus hair down to my shoulders. So I want to see how I can incorporate that. And then it's basically saying like, yes, you can do that exactly. And I told it about that whole concept of, being authentic and not polishing your content, rather than just like speaking who I am and what I'm all about. And that's going to build deeper trust. And it's just like helping me really understand this stuff. And even like the fact that I got cancer recently and overcame that. And like just different things that I can adhere to but I just basically had a conversation like, what do you think about this piece of content? Does this adhere to my message? Does this adhere to the algorithm? And it's just basically like help me understand this stuff. So it's like coming to AI and having these type of conversations, giving it as much context as possible and giving your specific situation, it changes the game. And when you use it as a thought partner, not a thought master or your master, that's when you get in trouble. But when you use it as a partner, it really helps out. And I'll just tell you this real quick. So on the plant medicine side of things, it's basically saying like, don't use it in the title, description, the tags, because that's kind of against YouTube's policies. So I'll sprinkle it in because it's been a big part of my journey and I want to share that type of stuff. I probably just won't make it like, hey, here's exactly how I healed my wounds by utilizing plant medicine, right? So I'll throw that kind of stuff in. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely subscribe and continue watching. So yeah, and this is where it even went into that. Is like basically it was telling me about the substance policies, the algorithm, consequences, framing plant medicine in a smart way, as opposed to just being like, hey, I was tripping out and that kind of stuff. And then from there, kind of just doubled down on all that. And then I even gave it, here's what I was talking about before, is like, so you can explain things to chat. And I fully recommend that. Give it as much context as possible. But a really powerful tool that I've realized recently is I can just send pictures into chat and then give context to the pictures if need be. And then it can give, because it basically gave me a quick little audit on my YouTube channel and basically said like, hey, here's some improvements. Here's where you're doing really good. Here's where it makes sense. Here's where you want to do some different things. But it would have taken me a lot longer to explain that. The whole adage of a picture is 1,000 words, like, it's going to take a while for me to talk out 1,000 words as opposed to just dropping a picture in. And you can do that with anything. Like you can take a picture. Like I have a friend that was working on his car and then he took pictures of it and he just kept having a back and forth conversation with AI by taking pictures and giving a little bit more context. And that way he was able to like, change the spark plugs, or I don't even know what he was doing, but he like fully fixed his car without going into a shop. Right. So it was really cool to use pictures. So there's that. So it kind of gave me some ideas for the banner, the profile picture, the channel name and handle, the playlist and featured videos. And then one other question I asked, which I think this is a really, really important topic, okay, that I learned from Hormozi. He talked about it. I haven't heard him talk about it a ton, but I did hear him talk about it. I think it's so important, is that especially if you're doing YouTube, okay, if you're doing YouTube, you want to focus on your CPMs. So meaning when you pass I think it's like 2,000 hours or 2,000 subscribers or something like that, it'll show you what you're earning based on AdSense. Okay, so when people place ads on your videos, it'll tell you what your CPMs are, which is cost per milli, which is basically cost per 1,000 impressions. So let me just kind of give you a little context to this. Is a person that has a gaming channel will have a lower CPM than a person that has a business channel, because you got to think about it like this, is that CPMs is just basically what does it cost to put my ads on these videos. And so a gaming channel is not as valuable as a business channel, because a business channel, like a business education channel, is a more opportune place for people to advertise, because that person watching that video is a more high value viewer, because they're more likely to spend more money, because if they're researching business education, they probably have a business. They are probably doing pretty well. They might be doing well in their business. There's a good chance they could be doing well in their business, and they would be more likely to invest into their business and spend money on their business to grow their business, as opposed to someone that just wants to play a video game, right? It's two different audiences. So I asked it that. I was like, hey, based on everything you know about me and everything we talked about and everything you know about my channel, what do you think my CPMs are right now? And so basically it kind of just gave typical ranges, and you'll never know until you like actually have your CPMs, but it just kind of gave you an idea. So the personal development niche alone is a lower CPM than a business education channel. That makes sense, right? So 5 to 10 CPM, $5 to $10 CPM. AI/productivity is 10 to 20 CPM, and then entrepreneur business education is $15 to $30 CPM. So it's basically saying that like right now I'm probably sitting between 12 and 20 CPM right now, and I could push it higher to 20 to 25, especially if I lean into AI for entrepreneurs, because of the fact that SaaS companies, software education or software companies, will pay big ad money to put their ads on my channel. So it just kind of gave me a better understanding, and like even like likely advertisers. That's what I asked. I said like, what kind of companies would advertise on my channel? So it kind of gave me the AI tools, the entrepreneurs, the finance and investing apps, personal development, education, productivity, wellness. So it just gave me a lot more clarity on like this whole thing. So I'm sure you can kind of get it and understand like how this is valuable. So it gave me the optimizations. It gave me like understanding like the metrics behind it, which we're always talking about, the woo and do approach. I'm a big fan of that, of like spiritually based, energetically based, but also let's look at the business stuff. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the CPMs. Let's look at what type of advertisers would be on our channel, right? And when you do that, you're a really powerful entrepreneur when you can be energetically tapped in, spiritually tapped in, and also know the numbers, right? So hope that gave some perspective. And then from there, once I realized this, I had a powerful conversation. I'm like, I got to create some content on this. This was powerful, and I just want to document it. I want to share it with you guys because I think it'll be valuable. It was really valuable for me, and I just want to share it with you guys. So from there, I know also, this will be kind of my last point, is that it's really powerful to have a strong hook in the beginning, like your first few seconds, especially on short form platforms, but on YouTube too, is like your first 5 to 10 seconds. You want it to be like really powerful, engaging, and hooking to people's audience. So I went over to vidIQ. That's probably a whole nother video. I won't dive into that, but that just helps you like optimize your channel and your videos and getting ideas for the name of your videos. So I came to the realization of like what was the title of the video that I wanted to create for this video that I'm recording. And I said, help me figure out a really good hook that pulls people in, as opposed to just being like, dive right into this. I had an idea, but I wanted to even get a better perspective. Right. And I also gave it a little bit of context. Like I like proof over promise framework. So instead of being like, hey, this is what I'm going to teach you on this video, I like to embed proof into that as well. So that's why I said something around, hey, I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. I've created hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of content. And, given the authority that like I see what's going on with this space of how many people are creating AI content and how it can be so mediocre, like I want to bring that proof that I've done this for a while. I've created a lot of content. I know what I'm doing, and I know I'm evolving a lot too. So I gave a lot of proof. And then from there, I introduced the tension, I introduced the discovery, and I introduced the payoff. So what you're really going to benefit, like what was the problem, what's the discovery, what's the payoff. So I gave all of that. And then really what I came to the conclusion of, I want to do some variation of this, is most entrepreneurs are using AI in the most boring way possible, pumping out generic content like everyone else. I've created hundreds of videos over the last decade, and even my friends with millions of followers feel stuck. But the one conversation with ChatGPT changed everything. In this video, I'll show you how to unlock content clarity with AI so you can grow while staying fully yourself. So I didn't read that verbatim, but that was essentially kind of the message that I shared in the beginning. And I'm going to learn from that. Like, I'm going to see if this hooked in a bunch of people. If it did not, I'm going to play with some things. I'm going to like keep on playing with my golden threads that I talk about a lot. I can talk more about that stuff at a later point. But yeah, that's kind of the gist. And that was the end of my conversation. And you can see how like start to finish, I was able to create a beautiful piece of content that gave me a lot of value first and foremost. I think that's really important as a content creator. Is this stuff that you even want to talk about? Are you passionate about it? Is it beneficial to you? Or are you just trying to find something to put up because that's what everyone's doing? And again, that comes back to the whole problem in the first place. So I trust that gave you some value. I appreciate you so much for sticking around if you're still here. So grateful for you. Love you lots. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. Continue the journey. Go implement this stuff. And let me know what you think. The other thing I'm always going to say at the end of these videos is that these are my soldiers at the end of these videos. So leave either a coffee mug emoji or a tree emoji, because I like to call you guys my trees, the people that are growing a little bit every single day. That's what growth is. That's what it's all about, right? So that's what I got, guys. If you want to go check out Vision Espresso, we do have free samples. You can go check it out. It takes you about 10 minutes. You'll get a 1-minute audio back from your future self. It's really cool stuff. It'll really start giving you a lot more clarity, and then got some other tools for subconscious reprogramming and all that kind of stuff. But thank you for watching this video, guys. I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.